Hello, my name is Paul. I'm a technical services engineer with Indeni, and today we're going to talk about how to install the Indeni Virtual Lab. But before we start, there's a few things you need to know. First, the Indeni Virtual Lab is an OVA file pre-configured to use 4 gigs of RAM, 4 cores, and up to 146.5 gigs of hard drive space. Now, to make sure you can run this comfortably, on Windows, go to Start, right-click on Computer, and go to Properties. Under System, you should see Processor and Installed Memory. Next, go to Windows Explorer, Computer, and under Local Disk, you should see how much space you have left. In my case, I have 25.4 gigs free, which really isn't a whole lot of space at all. However, it is enough to run the Indeni Virtual Lab, but with continued use, I will run into disk space issues later, so something to keep in mind. Next, launch your preferred virtual machine. In this example, I'm using VMware Workstation, and I'm doing so for a couple of reasons. One, it's really easy to set up a IP address to the Indeni server via DHCP, and two, I don't have to do any additional configuration to get connected to devices over a VPN. Open Virtual Machine. Now, your program might be defaulting to look for an ISO. If that's the case, select the drop-down, All Supported Files, then open the OVA. Here, I like to name it from the location I'm operating at, so I'm at the home lab. Now import. Once that finishes, click on Edit Virtual Machine Settings. Here, you'll see Memory, Processors, Hard Disk, and Network Adapter. Network Adapter should be defaulting to NAT, Network Address Translation. If that's not the case, change it here and select OK. Please note, I don't have Bridge selected. Now play the virtual machine. Once it finishes loading, log in with the username Indeni. The password is Indeni 4 numeric 4 IT. It'll default to the configuration wizard. Select Y to continue. Here, you can configure proxy, network interfaces if you already have a static IP in mind, NTP servers, time zone, and even change the host name. Right now, I'm going to go to time zone, and that's because it defaults to UTC, and I want to change that to Pacific. So I'm in the Americas, United States, and the Pacific. Once I confirm that's correct, I quit, and then I'm presented with the installed Indeni packages. You should have Collector, DS, Server, and Tools. You should also have the versions. Please note, Collector and Server versions need to match for Indeni to work correctly. Next, type in iManage. This will take you to Indeni Tools. With Indeni Tools, you can see what's installed, upgrade, restart services, and even send logs to support. Since this is a new install, I'm going to select 2 to check to see if there's any new packages that I can install. Here, it's reaching out to s3.amazonaws.com indeni-public, where our versions reside. It should return installed versus candidate. Candidate is the new Indeni package. Since the versions match, there's nothing to update, so I'm going to select no. Now I'm going to quit. Next, I need to find the IP address of the Indeni server. To do so, I type in ifconfig space -a. At the top, I see ETH0, then INET ADDR, and an IP address of 192.168.162.157. We're ready to launch a browser now. In the address bar, I type in https://, then the IP address 192.168.162.157. Next, I click on Advanced, then Proceed. Now I log in with username admin. The password is admin123! Please note, the username is case sensitive. Since this is my first login, it sees I don't have devices, so I'm going to click to add devices. Next, it's going to have me add credential sets. Credential sets allow you to input credentials that are shared across devices one time instead of adding to each device as you go. If you only have one credential set defined, all devices added will default to that set. If you have devices that have unique credentials, make sure and define those here. So click on New, and I'm going to add devices that are sharing the same SSH credentials. So I'm going to leave it default at username and password, and the username is Indeni, and enter the password here. Now I'm going to add a description. Because these are in the San Francisco lab, I'm going to put in SF lab. I'm going to uncheck HTTPS because this is just an SSH login. Now add. Now those are there. I go to Devices, New, Continue, New, and I'm going to add a checkpoint device. Actually, I'm going to add two. So I'm going to call this one CP1 for checkpoint. The IP address is 192.168.197.32. I'm going to click Add CP2 for my second checkpoint. The IP address is 192.168.197.37. Now I click Interrogate. What's happening at this point is the Indeni server is connecting to the devices and interrogating them. A successful interrogation will result in the Wi-Fi symbols turning green. Now I click Save. What's happening at this point is that the devices are being added to the Indeni dashboard. Once the devices are added to the dashboard, you'll receive some basic information, such as device vendor, software version, and software model. However, allow the server just a few more moments to start showing more relevant information. And after a few short moments, I see that I'm starting to receive some errors. When I click on More Device Info, now I can see all the information that was received during the interrogation process. Since I have alerts, I click on the alarm clock. Here, I get more details, and if I click on Current, I can see the more detailed version of the error. So as you can see, I set up an Indeni server in really just a few minutes and am receiving information back on devices that I connected to over a VPN. Please note that I accomplished this on my old MacBook Pro running Boot Camp with Win 7 Pro on very little hard drive space. I did it to demonstrate that you can use spare equipment to monitor or test devices in a lab over VPN on any network anywhere in the world. And that's the power of Indeni. If you have any questions or difficulties, be sure to join the Indeni community. You can find great user guides and other community members willing to help out. Thanks for your time.